Hello and welcome to the live class. Today we are going to be talking about connected speech. Hello and welcome. How are you doing today? I myself am doing pretty well. I'm happy it's Saturday. Last night I watched the last episode of Squid Game. So if you guys have seen that, it was a very intense third season, which was to be expected because the other two seasons are also intense. How are you guys doing today? How's your Saturday going so far? How is everyone? I will say yesterday, some of you guys probably saw on my story, I lost my wallet, which is very tragic. So I think today I'm going to go to the police station and see if they have it. I'm hoping like one of my neighbors just found it on the street or something and returned it to the police. So we commonly use a phrasal verb for that, actually. Like when you find something and you give it to the authorities, you can say that you turned it in to the police. But I'll get us started with the topic for today, which is connected speech. Okay, Kyrgyzstan, nice. Welcome. This topic, so connected speech, I think is very important for speaking and pronunciation, but also for listening. So when we're able to listen and identify connected speech, it will help you a lot because it's probably one of the reasons that you have a difficult time listening to people who speak quickly. So I have here some different slides that I will present. So to start, what is connected speech? Connected speech refers to the way spoken English words are joined together in natural conversation. Native speakers rarely pronounce words in isolation, which can make real-world English difficult to understand. So it's not very common that someone speaks like, hello, how are you? Like the audios that you might need to listen to for some English practice. Then you go into the real world and someone says, hello, how are you? And it kind of sounds like everything is mashed and connected together. That is because we use connected speech. It's what makes our speaking more fluid and blend together. Probably you also do this in your native language as well, I imagine. So it's not unique to English to use connected speech. I would say most native speakers, when you get really comfortable in your language, end up doing this. For example, if you speak Spanish, you're probably not going to say para ya. You're going to say para ya and connect everything together. So that's what connected speech is. And that's why it's different when you read something and when you listen to a native speaker saying it out loud. I would say that, in my opinion, the reason that a language like Portuguese and Spanish is easier to connect is probably because of the difference in with Spanish, there are two things. One, there are fewer phonetic vowel sounds in the Spanish language, so there's more probability that when you end in a vowel, the next vowel will be the same type of vowel. And the second thing is, in Spanish, the syllables very often end really nicely with a vowel like banana. But I think that it's not always the case in English. So I think that because English has influence from other languages too, you might get combinations of sounds that you don't really get from a Romance language. Okay, so that's connected speech. I'm going to share with you the first tip about connected speech. So when we are speaking quickly in English, we're going to use linking. What is linking? Linking is when we connect words when we speak. So, for example, we do not say turn it off. We say turn it off, turn it off. Kind of like one long word. So that is linking. When you have a phrase like turn it off and you say turn it off, turn it off. Especially because the word turn ends in a consonant, the N. Then we have the vowel, the I, and then a consonant T and a vowel O. So it happens a lot when the next word begins in a vowel that we blend these sounds together. So it sounds like one long word. So instead of turn it off, turn it off. So keep in mind when you're listening to someone and they're like, turn it off, turn it off. You might think that you're only hearing one word, but you're hearing 3 different words. I'm going to, as an exercise, I'm going to say some phrases, and I want you in the chat to tell me, what do you hear? So I'm going to write this. What do you hear? Okay, so the first phrase that I'm going to tell you is, let me think, put it on, put it on, put it on. So what am I saying when I say put it on? Put it on. Yes, exactly. Put it on, put it on, put it on. What about get out of here? Get out of here. Get out of here. Get out of here. Get out of here. What do you hear? Get out of here. Get out of here. Yes, so I'm saying get out of here, but when we say of very quickly, it's like get out of here. Get out of here. Get out of here. Yes, and put on means to wear. Exactly. So get out of here. Get out of here. Outa. We can say outa. Get out of here. Yeah. Okay. I'll give you guys one more before we continue to something else. How'd you do it? 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 Yes. How did you do it? How'd you do it? How did you do it is how'd you do it? How did you do it? Yes. How'd you do it? Nice. Okay, we're going to continue to the next part. I'll give you some tips for when you're going to use linking. And nice job, everyone. Exactly. It's how did you do it? So when we have a consonant plus a vowel, if a word ends in a consonant and the next one starts in a vowel, link them. So we have turn it off, pick it up, get out, take a look. Turn it off, pick it up, get out, take a look. Turn it off, pick it up, get out, take a look. It's like all one word. We don't say turn it off, turn it off. Can anyone give another example of a phrase where you have a word that ends in a consonant and the next word begins in a vowel? A lot of. Exactly. So what Dante said, a lot of, lot of, lot of, a lot of. And the T is said like a flap T, which is more like a D in English, which is like an R in Spanish. So a lot of. Okay, yeah, the last one is, it looks like a double vowel when I say take a look, but the E is silent. Remember that when you have the E on the end of a word in English, unless it's a French word like fiancé, normally the E on the end will be silent. So the pronunciation is take. The last sound in that word is a K sound. It's not like take, take a look. Check it out. Check it out. Put it on the table. Put it on the table. Check it out. A lot to. Switch it on. Switch it on. Switch it on. Park assist. parkicist. Yeah, the magic E on the end of a word is not pronounced. He's silent. He's very shy, the E on the end of a word. Pick it out. Pick it out. Nice. Okay, these are all good examples. And keep in mind, a lot of you are giving me examples with it. That is a very important thing to notice, that when you have an action combined with it, like throw it out, pick it up, it's very common to use linking connected speech. Also, if you have an ed verb and then it's very common. So like, he asked it, he wanted it, he rinsed it, he washed it. So it's very common at the end of ed words to also have an it if you're talking about a thing that happened in the past. The lights go out, put it out. The lights go out. And this one that you said, Annabelle, also has an interesting thing that we can note here. So this was vowel plus vowel. Okay, yeah. Vowel plus vowel. When we have something like go out, and I'm trying to move my little face. Okay. When we have something like go out, sorry, I'm reading your comments. Put it on top of it. Ooh, that's a really good example. Put it on top of it. And the of in that case sounds just like a V sound. Top of it, top of it, top of it. It's like a voiced F. Yes, after this class, I will post it to YouTube and Spotify. So if you guys need to miss part of it or you came late, no worries. I'm going to post it. I'll edit the audio a little bit and get rid of some of the pauses, and then I'll add it to YouTube and Spotify. But this is another interesting thing. So we have, when there's a consonant and then a vowel, it's linked, like put it. But when there's a vowel and then a vowel, often we add a sound. So for example, go on, instead of go on, we say go on. Go on. We're adding a W sound in between the two O's, and that's a very common way to connect these sounds. Remember that with connected speech, all of these things that I'm teaching you are what people naturally do to make it easier to talk. These are not things that should make it more difficult to talk. They might not be your instinct, and that's okay. But when you implement these, it should make it easier to pronounce words, because this is what people naturally do to make it easier to pronounce words and to make it a little bit more fluid. So all of these things, if you have a little bit of resistance, like, ooh, that seems hard, that's okay probably because it's new and like you kind of need to learn how to do it. That's the case for me with Spanish. I would separate each sound like para allá, but with the time you notice it gets easier the way that people say para allá. Like the way that you blend sounds is actually to make it easier for the speaker. Also, I got the comment about my YouTube channel. If you search, I'll pin my YouTube channel here. All of my links are in my bio on here. So if you guys haven't found me on YouTube, Spotify, TikTok, anywhere else, everything is in my bio as well. Probably if you just search my name, I have like 1,000 followers, so hopefully I come up and there's not a person with the similar name. Okay, so with go on, we have the W. It's like Obi-Wan Kenobi, right? Go on. Then we have with I agree, right? You can say I agree, but it's like I agree. I agree. Yeah, I agree with you. Instead of I think it naturally happens when you say these two sounds together. I agree. I agree. And the third one, law and order, it's kind of like law. It sounds like an R perhaps when you're saying it quickly. Law and order. Law and order. That one I think is maybe not as common in every accent, but if you guys have heard some British and US accents where it sounds like people say an R on the end of words, like law, Laurent order. You might hear that one. I would personally focus more on the first two, but keep in mind if you hear someone's adding R's to the end of words, it's probably because they have this aw sound. Okay, so can anyone think of an example of a phrase that has two vowels next to each other? And I'll see if we can use this to pronounce it. So I'll write that here. Give an example of a phrase that has a word that starts with a vowel, then one that, that ends, I'm trying to think of how to explain this, that ends with a vowel, then one that starts with a vowel. So especially like the first two. Ice cream. Okay, zoo owner. Yeah, zoo owner. Yeah, he's a zoo owner. Yeah, that's a good one. It's almost like we flip the W and the O in owner. Zoo owner. He's a zoo owner. He's an emu owner. I'm thinking of other words that end in a vowel. Said no one. Yeah, okay, this is a good one. That's very common. The word or the phrase no one is no one. Said no one never. No one never. And then we'll have that N from one bleed straight and link straight into ever, like with our first rule. I saw it. That, I feel like the aw and the I saw it. It might be because I'm just thinking, I saw it. It's almost like the aw is very unpronounced and then the has more emphasis. So we don't add another sound, but we do blend them. So we say saw it. I saw it. Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. It's very common with the O on the end of words. I think because the O is an emphasized sound. Go ahead. All right, I'm going to bring us to the next one. So that's another thing to keep in mind. Okay, this one, I feel like this one might be easier to understand. So if there are two words that have, we have edited it. Yeah, I edited it. That is objectively difficult to say, including for me. I edited it. So if we have the same sound twice, this is another situation where we're going to, say it. This is another situation where we're going to link the words. So if two words have the same sound, we only say it once. So we say big game, nice smile, good day, right? So all of these are situations where you're not going to repeat the sound probably if you're speaking quickly. Big game, nice smile, good day. And yeah, if you guys are like, oh, it's so hard to understand people when they speak like this, that is the exact reason why I decided to talk about this topic today, because when you're practicing your listening, and I did some research to see what are some of the best ways for people to improve their listening. And one thing that came up is when you practice listening for connected speech and improving listening to connected speech, that is one of the best ways to improve your listening. And practice something called segmentation. Segmentation is like, am I able to understand where one word ends and the other word starts? And if you are familiar with combinations like what, etc., you're more likely to be able to identify what people are saying with connected speech. So that's the exact reason why you guys should practice connected speech, is if you struggle with listening. This is probably the thing that people are doing while talking that's making it difficult for you to understand. So that's why it's good to practice listening to it, practice it yourself so you can be more aware of the sounds. Okay, so we have For example, me and you, me and you. Yeah, that one's interesting because we also very often reduce the and to like fish and chips, right? Me and you. Say yummy young girl. Yummy young girl. Say yummy young girl. Yeah, exactly. You're going to only pronounce the Y once in those situations. So, yeah, can anyone else think of a phrase where you have the same sound repeated twice? This is a really common one. Good day. Let's see that. Yeah, let's see that. We're only going to say the S sound once. Let's see that. Let's see that. And you might even hear people not pronounce that T very much. Like, let's see that. But it's not on purpose. It's just like when you're speaking quickly, we often reduce the T sound. Guns N' Roses. Exactly. Nice. Okay. So these, if you guys see like, good day, mate, when people from Australia say, good day, mate, they're saying good day, but we don't repeat or have a pause between good and day. We say good day. Yeah, I think reading out loud can be a good way to train your rhythm and connection. Definitely. So if you guys need ways to practice at home, reading out loud can help because it also forces you to use words and phrases that you might not use yourself to get comfortable with. Fantasy, rock and roll. Okay, I'm going to bring us to something else. Here I had some practice of how we can use it. If you are, I got tired. Yeah, I got tired. I got tired. Or I get tired if you're talking in the present tense also. I get tired. If you are somewhere where you can practice, even if you're in public, there's no shame in practicing your English. Anyone who judges you is probably jealous. Just kidding. That's like a very mom thing to say. I want you to practice these phrases using what we have practiced so far. So, the first one, I need it now. I need it now. I need it now. I need it now. It's like, I need it now is kind of like separate because we have a little pause there. I need it now. I need it now. Take it easy. Take it easy. The T, like I said before, here is a flap T, which sounds like an English D and a Spanish single. You're taking the tongue, d, and just flapping it on the top of your mouth. If you guys are like, what? Look up the flap T in English and you'll see what I'm talking about. It's like butter, water, city. When we have a T in between two vowels, we use the flap T, especially in my accent in US English. So we have take it easy, take it easy. Then we have go on, try, go on. Remember, we're adding that W sound. Go on, try. And also, yeah, well, we have, I would say in the case of castle, that's a word where the T is just not pronounced at all. Like bustle, castle, thistle. There are some STLE words where the T is just not pronounced. And hi, everyone. If you are joining, we are talking about connected speech. And this is a topic that I recommend you practice, especially for your listening. The more that you get familiar with connected speech, the easier it will be for you to understand native speakers when they speak very quickly. Sometimes people ask me, why can I understand you but not native speakers or not other native speakers? That's because when I'm live and when I'm talking to you guys, not always, sometimes I talk quickly, but most of the time I reduce the amount of connected speech that I use. I'm speaking in a way like this where you can more easily recognize each separate word. To say that connected speech would be like, I'm speaking in a way where you can recognize each separated word. like all one sentence, basically. So that's the reason why you can not understand certain people is probably because they're using a lot of connected speech. People asked me what something means. I don't know what you're talking. What does it mean? I need it now. She asked again. This is a good one. She asked again. We kind of reduce this word asked a lot. She asked again. She asked again. We all agree. And we're going to add for the fifth one here, we all agree. It's not like we all agree. It's like we all, yeah, we all agree. We're adding that Y sound. Start to run on it. Start to run on it. Start to run on it. Nice. You'll notice, if you guys can notice, especially when we have a lot of short words like what Fabio put here, we're going to reduce a lot of those. So start to run on it. We're going to reduce a lot of words when we have to, on, it, all of these sort of shorter words. Okay. I'm going to go to the next part here. Here are some common reductions for you, just so you can look. If you need to take a screenshot, you can. What are you? Whatcha, right? So, what you doing? Hey, what you doing? And sometimes in an informal way, we even write the reduction over text. So I could type to my friend, hey, what you doing? And I'm saying, what are you doing? So this is something we even use over text. What you doing? Gotcha. We have got you as gotcha. Notice something, that the you, when we're asking questions or we're having a T sound, especially before the you, we're going to turn it into a cha. So that's one way that we often reduce the Y sound, because the Y sound takes a lot of effort to produce. We're going to say gotcha instead of got you. It's like got the T and then a Y feels like a lot to pronounce. So we get lazy with it and we say gotcha. The Y in a question is often like cha. How can I pronounce go together? Go together. I would say it like all one word, go together. And instead of go together, it's like go together. I would pronounce the first O in together like a schwa. Okay, then we have don'tcha. Don'tcha wish your girlfriend was hot like me? Do you guys know that song? Don'tcha wish your girlfriend was... These are not for informal words. These are informal pronunciations or quick. I wouldn't even say informal. I would say fast pronunciations. So the column on the left, these are basically what the person is saying, but the pronunciation is what I'm telling you. So someone saying don't you is not informal, but don'tcha might be the way that they pronounce it. And it would be, yeah, maybe in a presentation you would try not to speak like that. You would want to speak more with pauses in between the words that you're saying, but not always. I would say in some workplaces people speak fast anyway and they use this pronunciation. Did you? Did ya? Did you catch that? Did you catch that? And would you? Would ya? It's kind of like you could either say would ya, like a J, like jam, or would ya, kind of like cha-cha-cha. So it's kind of in between like a J or a CH. Don'tcha sounds like a nickname for Sancho. Wouldn't have. Yeah. That's an interesting point too, kind of unrelated, but when you see the reduced form of have, like I've gone here or wouldn't have, could have, should have, the V is going to, like the VE is going to be pronounced like of, wouldn't have, could have. Okay. Yeah. So these are some, if you're at home and you're able to practice, here's what I want you to repeat after me. Gotcha. 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 This is something you can say if someone is telling you something and you want to say, I understand. You can say, gotcha. And that is informal. If you type this into a message, it would be very informal and conversational. But informal across generations. Like I could see my father saying this, I could say it, or a younger person could say it. You could say gotcha to show that you understood someone. What you doing? What you doing? What you doing? That is, what are you doing? What you doing? Gotta catch 'em all. Yeah, gotta catch 'em all. Exactly. Gotta catch 'em all. What you do that for? What you do that for? What you do that for? Don't you know? That's don't you know? Don't you know? Don't you know? And a lot of these you guys can see in music and popular culture because they are a very common way to pronounce these common phrases. You'll notice that a lot of them are questions. A lot of words that we reduce are questions because it's common to reduce auxiliary verbs and modal verbs because they're not like the most important content words. So for that reason, with a lot of questions, you can see people reducing the pronunciation. And then we have, would you like some coffee? Would you like some coffee? Would you like some coffee? I could see if you go to a restaurant, you should practice this one because it's possible the waiter will say, would you like some coffee? If it's like a very elegant restaurant, but probably most restaurants, they'll say, would you like some coffee? Would you like anything, or just anything else? Anything else? So it's good to practice this, not just like, oh, only informal people use this. This is like how people talk in the real world. So if you're going on a trip to the US, practice this because probably the waiter will say, would you like some coffee? Would you like some dessert? And you'll be like, what? What did you say about me? Okay. Then we have elision. Some of you guys already talked about this. What you gonna do? Oh yeah. What you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you? Bad boys, bad boys. We always have songs every class. This is like Charm English the musical. Okay. Then we have elision. You guys probably also notice this as well when people are talking. Also, hello, welcome if you guys are joining. If you joined while I was singing a song, welcome. Okay, with what and why. Ooh, that's a good question. What and why, it's a little bit different. I would say, why'd you do that? Or okay, wait. What you do that for is what? And then why do that is why. So it would be whatcha do that for? Whatcha or whyja? Whatcha or whyja? Whatcha whyja? That's what I would say is the difference if it's what or why. Whatcha do that for? Why'd you do that? So like the ja is the same because the u is being reduced in the same way, but the what and the why will have a different vowel sound. Wa or why. Scooby-Doo. Okay, so with elision, this is when we drop a sound when we speak. We do this to speak faster and more smoothly. This is something where if you're reading and trying to connect everything you read to everything you hear, you're going to be very frustrated because it will be different. But if you're speaking and only focusing on the sounds, you probably will like this because it will make words easier to say. The reason people do this is to make it easier to say words. Not consciously, but unconsciously. Or unconsciously. Sorry, that wasn't... I haven't finished my coffee yet. Okay. So for example, very common, we say sandwich. 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 Sometimes we even say sandwich instead of sandwich. Do you want a sandwich? A sandwich? And we're not really going to say sandwich with the D. The same thing with grandma. This is a very common word in English, grandma. But I would say that it's much more common to say grandma and not grandma, because having a D in the middle of the word makes it a little bit difficult to pronounce, because remember, in English, it's not like in Spanish, the D is like grandma. Like, it's easier to say. In English, it's like grandma. Like, imagine if you're a Spanish speaker having an R in the middle of a word like that. You'll be like, what? How do I pronounce this? So that's the reason why we just pronounce it very weakly, unless you're like really trying to emphasize to someone what you want to say. Salmon. Yeah, salmon. I don't know why we don't say the L in salmon. That's kind of funny. There's probably like story behind the word salmon. I'm going to go to here. So why does elision happen? I kind of said this already. It's to make pronunciation easier and smoother in fast speech. It happens when there are too many consonants together. So consonant clusters. A sound is unstressed or not essential for meaning. So I can say grandma and everyone will still understand that I'm saying grandma and not grandma. Okay, I didn't finish putting the title on this, I guess. So I'm going to cover that with my face and pretend like it was on purpose. Here are some other examples, and I want you guys to write in the chat if you have any other examples where we do not pronounce a letter in a word, aka elision. Hello, if you're joining. Today we are talking about connected speech in different ways. Right now we're talking about words where we miss a consonant in the middle of the word because we have too much going on. So this is the most common way to speak, especially quickly. So for example, we have friendship. We're going to say friendship. More common than friendship. Friendship. Sandwich. Sandwich. Next day. Next day. And this is kind of like next day. We're kind of going to skip the T in the last one. Next day. Next day. We're going to go from the X right into that D sound. So that would be the last one. But can you think of any words? Can you think of a word where we don't pronounce a sound? Or maybe, yeah, I'll say a sound. I'm thinking especially about consonants in the middle of words like these. So can you think of any word where you do not pronounce a consonant in the middle of the word? Okay, we have doubt. Yeah, that's one where if you speak fast or slow, either way, you're not going to pronounce the B. So some of them, if you're saying it really quickly, you're going to not say the consonant, like friendship. But in the case of debt or doubt, you're not going to ever pronounce that B, even if you're saying it slowly. Identify. Yes, exactly. It's very common with the D and T in the middle of words. Identify. Identify. Library. The library. Library? I don't know about library. I feel like I say all the words or all the sounds. Library. Library. I say it quickly, but I would pronounce all the sounds there. Maybe not February, because some people say February and don't pronounce the first R. February. We have February. February. I'm going to eat it next day if you agree. Island. Also. Yeah, that's one where we never pronounce the S. Hour. We never pronounce the H. Okay, this is one where we pronounce the T when it's slow or not when it's fast. Internet. Internet. Worcestershire sauce. Congratulations. Yeah, the T in congratulations, we say like a J sound. Congratulations. Palm Beach. Yeah. That's one where we never pronounce the L in palm. It's always palm. Listen. Also, we do not pronounce the T. Listen. Listen. Uncle. That one I feel like we do uncle. Cole. Well, it's just that the C-L-E is pronounced cole. But I would say all of the sounds are accounted for. This is a good one. Jewelry. So if you think about it, if you see the word jewelry, you might be like, oh my God, that looks so difficult to say. But if you focus on the way people actually say it, jewelry, jewelry, it's a lot easier than how it looks. Same thing with comfortable. When you see the word comfortable, it's like comfortable. But when you only focus on the way people say it and try to imitate it, it's not as difficult. Comfortable is a little bit easier, I think, than comfortable. Schedule, tough. Wednesday. Yes, we don't say Wednesday, Wednesday. It happens a lot. If you guys notice the patterns with N sounds, D sounds, and T sounds, those are the ones where when it's in the middle of a word like that, it's a little bit hard for us to say when we're speaking quickly or when we're speaking with a lazy mouth like we like to do in English. Jewelry and jewelry. Yeah, it's like the L is not as pronounced in that one exactly. And we kind of don't pronounce all of the vowels in that one. Jewelry. We don't say jewelry. Jewelry. Okay, I'm going to go to a different one here. I had just a list of other words that I wanted to tell you guys before ending today. So maybe if you can think of any examples that use any of these words, you can also practice them. Toward, yes, exactly. Instead of toward, we say toward, toward. It rhymes with sword or lowered. It's like lowered, toward, toward. So I would say a tip that comes to mind for me is with English, comparing to a lot of your native languages, I recommend it's sometimes easier to not try obsessively to associate the spelling with the pronunciation. Sometimes it can help to imitate the sounds and not really try to match them for the letters because you're not really going to be able to. So I think it will help you lose some of that headache if you don't try to like, okay, well, this letter makes this sound and this letter makes that sound. If you can focus on rhyming words, that is going to be your best friend. So when you see the word toward, right next to it in your notes, Lord. So toward sounds like Lord. This is my best tip for English. And really, I'm thinking of how when I was a child, we learned to say words, and it's super common to practice with rhyming books. That's like one of the most important ways that I was taught how to speak as a child. So I think that rhyming is really important. ¿Por qué las T no se pronuncian dentro de los vocales? I think it's a thing of like, okay, here's what I would say in Spanish. Estoy pensando porque la T entre dos vocales, depende, no es que dentro de dos vocales se pronuncia, pero se pronuncia más como una D de inglés, que es como una R de español. Por ejemplo, letter, letter. Es cuando no se pronuncia. Eso sería cuando tienes la N y después una T, por ejemplo, como interested. Porque la N, me imagino que hay como una explicación más lingüística que no, que no sé, pero es cuando estás hablando rápido que no se pronuncia. Interested. Porque siento que, sí, no sé exactamente cómo la explicación lingüística, pero cuando tienes dos consonantes juntos y un consonante es como la T, es muy común que pase eso. If the image is blurry, unfortunately, I can't do anything about that right now, but I can read it out loud to you so you can practice your listening. So the first one, I want to go home. We say, I want to go home. I want to go home. I want to go home. You're kind of cute. You're kind of cute. So kind of is like kinda. She's sort of tired. Sorta. She's sorta tired. When we have the of, look at the number 2, 3, and 4. We have kind of, sort of, out of, kinda, sorta, outa. So when you're saying the word of quickly, it's like instead of, kinda, sorta. Come on, let's do it is like, come on, come on. Would you like a cup of tea? Would you like a cup of tea? Again, with the I don't know, I don't know. Here, like I said before about the T and the N, I don't know, I dunno. So we have don't know. We're going to not really pronounce the T. I don't know. Let me see. So let me see. Give me the book, give me the book. Notice how with let me, give me, we say let me, give me. I cried because I'm in pain. I cry 'cause I'm in pain. And that's also really common to write while you're texting, 'cause instead of because. I'm going to tell you the truth. I'm gonna tell you the truth. You need to know about James, which I guess would be James. You need to know. So need to is needa. Start to, start to. So it's also common that to is like when it's after a verb. We have to go, we have to. So have to, start, wanna, kinda, sort. The can be to or of. So that's, how do you pronounce foxtrot? Foxtrot. 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 That's how I would say it. All right. So that is what I had for you today. I'm going to open it up. Maybe I have a couple minutes for any questions. Does anyone have any questions about what we practiced today with connected speech? Or maybe something that you learned from the class today. We talked about a lot of things. We talked about how you need to link words when one word ends in a consonant and the next word ends in a vowel. We talked about how when you have two vowels together, like go on, you might add a W sound, go on. We talked about how when you have a repeated sound, like, I don't know, yummy yell, you'll say yummy yell. We talked about elision, which is when you remove a sound, not on purpose, but more because it's faster to pronounce that way. And you'll notice if you're thinking only English uses connected speech, I recommend that you look at it in your native language for a reference. It might be interesting to you. Because I'm just thinking there are a lot of situations in Spanish where you use blended speech, and also in German. So in the two different languages that I've spent time learning, I've noticed that there is also connected speech. So if you're not really getting it, you can try to look for references in your own language of ways that you blend speech as well. I heard this from someone once. What are you doing down there? What are you okay, so with this one, what are you doing down there? You could say, what are you doing down there? What are you doing down there? Or the person might say, what you doing down there? What you doing down there? So it depends how much the person is reducing their speech. I would say, what are you doing down there? Or what you doing down there? Whatcha is what are you? So if you guys practice whatcha, what you want. I remember when I was a child, my mom knocked on the door of a room where I was staying and I opened it and I said, what you want, chicken wing? So I don't know. That's a good one to remember. You're welcome for the class. I wonder how many words are coined daily. I have no idea, to be honest. That's a good question. We always have words that fall out of use. Some words are even used in new ways. That happens a lot in English. Like there's a word that was used to mean something and then it's used to mean something else. Like there's a new phrasal verb now that people use, locked in, which in the past, this also had a meaning. I mean, it has the meaning if you have a dog and you lock your door and leave the house, your dog is locked in to your house. But now it's like online, people say, I'm locked in, like I'm really focused, I'm locked in. So that happens a lot too, where even with words that we already have, sometimes people make new meanings for them. And you're welcome for the class. Definitely. We have new words, new phrasal verbs. I would think of phrasal verbs kind of function because they carry like one specific meaning. It's almost like words, like when we're thinking of vocabulary and actions. It's like the phrasal verb is functioning like one vocabulary term as well. Locked in. Yeah. English is always evolving. It's true. It keeps it interesting for you guys. If it were easy, everyone would be fluent in English. Hi, little Japanese. Awesome. I'm going to post it on YouTube. I'm going to edit the audio a little bit, cut out the parts where I'm thinking, and I'll post it online for you guys. Well, I'm going to go and talk to the police station and see if someone turned in my wallet. Wish me the best. I'm hoping that it's there and that one of my neighbors was kind enough to turn it in. So I hope you guys have a good rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next one.